Hello, welcome to Saturday Night Garibaldi Red from the Nottinghamshire Live. My name is Matt Davis, hosting as normal, and we're here to discuss another Forest win, a first home win of the season after Forest beat Blackpool 2-1 at the City Ground. I forgot the score then. That's a good start. Joined today by the perfect man, first of all, for a podcast where you need some optimism when everyone's feeling upbeat. Joined by Greg Mitchell from Forza Garibaldi. Greg, you well?
Yeah, excellent. I mean, you don't need me when everyone's feeling the same, though, do you?
No, well, you're always welcome. Don't worry. Just add to the optimism. And also joined today, returning to the podcast, a friend of the show, in Michael Temple. Temps, are you well?
I feel great. 4 days at a beer festival and a Forest win. I'm top of the world.
4 days? What, you did all four?
Well, in a kind of semi-professional capacity, and a bit of swilling as well. But yeah, I was there from the very start. I've just ducked out a little bit early at the end. Going to miss the bitter end, but yeah, great Forest performance and really good week for me.
Well, there's not many times when I could say I wish I was there, but it sounds like today I wish I was there because, as I was saying before we started recording this, I took my son to see the Paw Patrol movie and slept through the whole thing, and then woke up to see much of the Forest score. Yeah, it's not one for adults, the Paw Patrol movie, obviously. So, Forest, most importantly. Greg, what was it like just in terms of, we'll get into the nitty gritty of the game, but in terms of the atmosphere and just the kind of feeling that Forest are back in a sense? Did it feel like that?
I felt like it was the first game of the season, pure optimism, just waiting, thinking we're going to win today, telling people we're going to win today, and then all of a sudden like thinking, oh God, have we gone too confident here? Because the form obviously shows that we shouldn't have been. And it just went exactly how we expected it, really. The players that needed to play well played well. You know, I'm running out of like these Ryan Yates haters. I don't know what they're going to be saying now because he was excellent today. And Colback superb. It was a good game. Blackpool gave as good as they got. I thought Gabriel was excellent for them. It's a shame we've lost him, but it was one of those games we had to win. And 13 points out of 15. Cancel the playoff hotel. It's exciting.
Yeah, well, we'll get onto the trajectory of the team in a minute. Tempt, you watched from was it Brian Clough Lower? You said, I can't remember, but you had a good vantage point for it all. Did it feel different just in terms of, did you believe Forest were just going to win the game or not?
Yeah, I think it could have been 4 or 5. But Greg said in the preamble that they had a couple of good chances, but we had by far the better chances. We had the volume of the chances. I watched that duel first half. We were down in the corner by the Blackpool fans who made a lot of noise, it has to be said. But yeah, front row seat for that. Gabriel, Maxlow clash. And yeah, Gabriel was impressive on the ball, but I thought Maxlow came out on top of that battle. We'll talk about the goal later, but yeah, that boy can play. And I think we need to make moves to keep him in the ranks. He was a real standout for me today.
In a sense, it's a bit mad that there was over 27,000 there. I mean, not many clubs would not win a home game all season, show the slightest flicker of form, and which we all have jumped on because, we've been waiting so long for it. But to get 27,000 in, Greg, I mean, we'll talk about a big club mentality in a minute, as Cooper's phrase, I noticed, of the week. But it does show Forest are a big club, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, 27,956, 28,000, that is. It just shows that, looking further into the future, if something like this stand did happen, we could fill it. We've got terrible form. You've already given us the stats about just how bad our form is at home, and we're putting 28,000 people in the seats. And it also goes to show as well, like, what a good away day Forest is. Those Blackpool fans were excellent today, and they sold out their end. And I'm not so sure they do sell out every away game, so it's a pull for away fans as well. It was just a really good game. I just really enjoyed it. I was so nervous with 10 minutes to go because I feel like we've got a lot to play for now. And I think the next home game, next Sunday, even though it's on Sky, I think it'll be a similar crowd again.
It's interesting. I said about big club mentality, Temps. Cooper, I've heard him say that. His interview he did, he said it's a big club repeatedly in his press conference. And then he said it again today. Is that him, do you think, trying to inject a mentality into the players and give them a bit of arrogance, isn't it? Well, arrogance might be the right word. I mean, arrogance is no bad thing, is it? What do you think he's doing there?
I think part of it's his method, and I think part of it is a reaction to the kind of dourness and defensive mindset of the previous regime. He wants a line in the sand. He's listened to the players. He's heard from the fans. He had a corporate event at the ground this week as well, getting to know those that support the club with time and money. And I think it's those two things. He's a motivator. He's a PR master, punching the air at the final whistle. Fans love to see that. But he's savvy enough as well to know that Forest wanted a change in emphasis, a change of mindset. And my initial instinct is that this isn't new manager bounce. This is someone with his own method that's distinctly different from the methods of the previous regime, and it's producing distinctly different results.
Yeah, you've worked in PR. I mean, I work in one side of the fence, you work on the other in terms of the media. Can you give us an assessment of how Houghton did very badly in PR, really, how Cooper's done in terms of, getting fans together and saying it was his idea to meet them, and, the punching the air thing's very Jurgen Klopp, isn't it? I don't know if he did that at Swansea or not, but if you were a PR coach for Steve Cooper, how would you be rating him so far?
I'd say him to carry on doing what he's doing. Look, he hasn't had the luxury of time, has he? He's kind of jumped into a squad that's already been assembled, a season that started really badly. Time was against him, so he needed to make impact quick. So he's put the hours in. From what we hear, on the grass a lot, at the training ground. He didn't bring the Swansea assistant with him. He brought Tate instead. His assistant manager at Swansea, known for being on the grass, and Cooper, the man going around having a word in the ear. He's been far more active. He's put in more time than typically a Championship manager would on the pitch, getting in amongst it, whistling a mouth with the boys. He's then realised as well, if he can have that new manager bounce, win a couple, say the right things, get some momentum going, and all of a sudden we're looking up rather than looking down. So I think there's a clear method there. He knows how these things play out, but it's not style over substance, because there's been a marks change as well. So marks out of 10 from the PR man, 10.
There you go. It's got the seal of approval. We are live on Facebook, so I'll just prove it by saying different game plan in every game from David.
That's true.
I was going to ask you about that, Greg, because obviously I said, I'm not sure if I was on with you or not, with Gary, when I said, do Forest need to play differently between being home and away? Because obviously teams are going to sit in against them, when Forest are the home team. I don't know if Blackpool did that or not, but did you see clever tactics from Cooper today?
Yeah, because Blackpool were a busy team, but they were trying to slow it down from an early stage in the game, and we adapted to that. And I mean, what do you call them? Wing backs, like old school. They're both as good as each other. They're so good on either side that it's such a danger for the opposition. And we realised that down the wing straight away, and we adapted. And it was just Blackpool made it tough today. It wasn't the perfect performance from us, but we kept adapting. And Colback and Yates in the first half was superb. Colback for me would have been man of the match if he didn't go off early, whether he was shattered or injured. But we just did a real solid performance, and it could have been a few more goals, like I said earlier. But I'm confident that Bristol City obviously is going to be tough, but Fulham after, if we can get points out of these next two games, it's exciting. It really is.
Who was your man of the match, Temps? Because now Greg says Colback. I've seen people say Johnson. I've seen people say Graben, which is always the mark of a pretty decent performance if you've got a few contenders. Who would you have voted for?
Graben got it in the ground, didn't he? Even though he did miss a couple of chances, but his all-round play today was different class. There was some real finesse touches back end of the second half where he was bringing others into play. So I thought he was truly excellent. Yeah, Colback in that kind of marshalling role had a real good game. Max Lowe had some real good flashes as well. Brennan Johnson. I mean, how long are we going to keep hold of that boy? He's lightning quick. He can finish his dinner, and he's got a kind of selflessness to him as well, hasn't he? Knows when to keep it, knows when to pass. So I'm going to agree with the man of the match call. Lewis Grabban could have been man of the match and could have taken the match ball home today. But let's hope he's happy enjoying his football and finding his form. He's certainly back in that 9 role. I think he tried to convince Houghton briefly that it was a 10, which clearly isn't. But yeah, top of the pitch, creating chances, dropping deep when he needs to, bringing others in. And yeah, there were signs today that maybe he can be the 20-goal man.
That first goal was pretty, it's going to be up there for goal of the month probably as a contender. Joe Worrell turned into, youthful Michael Dawson there, pinging it out. He loves to try that, Worrell. It doesn't always come off, but it looks good when it does. And obviously, Max Lowe, as we've said before, it's a great ball, and Brennan Johnson finishes it. And you haven't seen many goals like that, have we, for a long time, Greg? I'm thinking all the way back to Fulham away for something that kind of dynamic.
That's I know it was a different goal. Like Fulham away was all 11 players touched it, but it was so simple, so direct, and all 3 of the passes were perfect. Joe Worrell's one of those floating balls that you're already like clapping it before it hits the player's foot, and it was the perfect crossing from Lowe. And again, it just shows what either of those wing backs are going to do. They're dangerous, and the defenders aren't able to concentrate on one because the other's on the other side. But Brennan Johnson, like saying how good a player he is, I've got to the point now where I think this contract's important. Obviously, if we can sign him down, it'd be massive. But if we can't, he could be so important for us this season. We can't just sell him for a quick 5 million with a year left of his contract in January. I'd even be tempted to say let the contract run out, because that player could be so important for us in the run-in. Like the way we're going now, our form's going, that take the risk on him. If he's not going to sign the contract, don't sell him at Christmas, whatever we do, and then keep, because he just seems to get better and better. He's such a solid player for his age. Like, he's not a big build, is he? But he's strong. He got injured earlier on. He looked like he had a right kick to the boot, and he limped it off, and then suddenly was involved in a real solid play again. So he's just so exciting for me, and we can't let him go at Christmas. We just cannot.
Are we at the stage already, Temps, where the only scenario where we see Brennan Johnson in a Forest shirt next season is if Forest are in the Premier League? He's that good, isn't he, I think?
Yeah, look, Dane won't let him leave for free. It'll be new contract or sale for a fee. I mean, that's the reality of the model that we're all trying to subscribe to now. I agree with Greg in the sense that I'd love to have him around for every game we possibly can. But yeah, look, he's high up that scouting list at the mid-table Prem sides. Maybe someone takes a punt now, loans him back for a year. Who knows? But I would be surprised if he started next season with us, because he's developed so quickly. Bossed it in League One last year, came back in, automatic starter, seems right at home. How high can he go?
Interesting point here from Richard Ottaway about selling Johnson, which is probably a realistic scenario. Forest are going to find it very hard to buy Max Lowe, Jed Spence and Philip Zinckernagel. I think I read a piece that Sarah had done saying that there's no agreement for Lowe in place. There's no agreement for Spence in place. And I'm not sure about Zinckernagel. And I think there's the option to recall all 3 in January, which is a bit worrying, but probably unlikely. But that's a different thing. I mean, is the top priority now, do you think, trying to entice Lowe, Spence or Zinckernagel, at least 1 or 2 of those to come on permanent deals, Temps?
It'd be the wing backs would be the priorities for me. While Zinckernagel is a great player, I think an alternatives probably already exist within the squad, and I think alternatives would exist in the market. So they'll try there, but it won't be catastrophic if we can't secure Zinckernagel permanently. That's no disrespect to him. I just think there's a wealth of riches in that kind of luxury player, attack minded. We've got plenty of them. I think what we've seen from Spence and Lowe is quite unique. And if we want to play this system with boys that can defend but can also beat a man, have extreme pace, and their delivery is really good as well, that's a precious commodity. And I think losing those boys would require us to reshape a system which is working really well. So really hope we can make a move to secure both of them for the rest of the season and even longer.
Was it not quite Spence's day today, Greg? Obviously, Lowe has 2 assists. Was Spence at fault there, the equaliser, or not?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't really concentrating for that one. It was so early on in the second half, but I was still making my way back.
I think with the equaliser, I think like Samba calls that ball and catches it, danger goes away. The fact that the header was taken from underneath his chin caused all sorts of problems. It bounced in the box, and they smash it home. But that was the error for me. There should have been a big bold call from Samba and just cleared the lot out. So yeah, that was a tense few minutes, wasn't it, Greg?
Thanks, dig me out of that one. But then again, when we had that goal line scramble, I just cannot believe they didn't score that. So it was just. It was one of those games where they really could have got something out of this game, Blackpool. They really could. Like, we never put it to bed. But we were the better team. We did deserve the win. But I wouldn't like to say anyone on that pitch had a bad game today. I think they all played well. They all dug deep when they had to. Goal line scrambles, getting the goals, team goals. It was an exciting game more than anything. And it just made me think, ready for the next few games now. We're on a roll and we've got some real tough games coming up.
Forest obviously responded very well. The thing I found interesting about the second goal, to channel my inner Gary Birtles here, was they had 4 or 5 men in the box and 4 men in around the 6-yard box. And, Graben shows that striker's instinct. Where are we at with Graben? I think, are we back in kind of the Lamucci territory where we're all desperately hoping he doesn't get injured now?
I really hope so. I think there's just so much to be said for this shape with the back three, Worrell stepping into midfield, bringing the ball out, the wide men playing high when they need to, but working back as well. But yeah, putting the ball away has been the problem in the past. And a fit and firing Graben does that better than anybody in the squad. I still think we need another striker for depth. I don't think Lyle is a 20-goal man.
Are we being a bit harsh there? I don't know. I mean, I agree, actually. I do agree. But he hasn't had the opportunity under Cooper. I mean, if I was Lyle Taylor, I'd probably turn around and say, well, you haven't seen me play in this team that's flying. And I am sceptical that he is a 20-goal man. But do we have to give him, if he gets that opportunity, do we have to, give him a chance again now? Temps?
Look, he has to grab it, doesn't he? There'll be a chance through rotation or injury or suspension or otherwise where he comes in and has to be the spearhead and he has to grab it. Like, I'll be dancing around like everybody else if he does. I just think he's flattered to deceive a little bit. And while you've got dominant Graben looking as he looks, rotation becomes a bit more unappealing. If he's not scoring, you shuffle the deck and give him a go. But yeah, I think he's going to have to get used to life on the bench for a little while if Grabs can stay fit and in form.
How important, Greg, do you think this win's going to go down as? I suspect if Forest do something this season, it's not one we'll particularly remember. Blackpool aren't a big draw necessarily, but Forest needed that first home win and they've got some tricky games coming up and it does feel like they've got a lot of momentum now. If they'd lost today or even drawn, it would have felt like a backward step, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's the first home game where it is truly Cooper's setup. So if we hadn't have won, we'd have been like, oh God, was it the new manager bounce like we were talking about earlier? But it clearly wasn't. He adapted. He did an excellent job today. And like we say, we've got some massive games. We've got some tough games coming up. Going back to the Graben situation, it does make you nervous if he gets injured because you feel like Johnson could be involved in, either scoring or setting up 20 goals this season. But we can't then rely on him to be the striker as well. And Taylor, he's got to be ready because he will get that call from now or between Christmas because Graben ain't getting any younger. He's not going to be able to play every single game. And until we can get another guy in January or what have you, Taylor's got to be that man as well, ready to go. And I think he can be. He proved it at Charlton. It's just not happened with us yet. But we've had players like that when they suddenly do come good. And I think he can. He's got the skills.
Would Johnson be the next in line, Temps, to play as a number 9? What would you do? If Graben needs a rest, what would you do?
I would stick Lyle Taylor in there because I think Brennan Johnson's best position is off the right and he's able to create as well as finish. and we've seen him make those decisions. We have to use his pace out there. He's definitely not a hold-up merchant. He's a he's a chalk on your boots, in off the right-hand side, direct where he needs to be, but can find the byline as well. He's not a number 9. And we've all watched his Lincoln season to see how dangerous he can be from out wide. So, no, I don't think he will play centre forward in this system, no.
Let's look ahead to it's Tuesday night, isn't it? Bristol City away. Bristol City, I was looking, Forest have actually got the 4th best away record in the league, which was surprising. But obviously, like we said, first home win today. Bristol City have got the 3rd worst. They're above Forest in the home table. But Bristol City haven't won a home game yet. They've drawn 4 out of 6. Are Forest going to win this one, Greg, or would you take a point now?
That always worries me when they say like they haven't won one yet and they've drew 4, and you think, oh, so it's going to be us, isn't it? But our away form is absolutely superb. So we should be going down there thinking these are there for the taking, and we should be trying to get the 3 points, and I'm sure Cooper will. But if it wasn't to be for that game, because we're not going to win every single game from now until May, are we? I'm not going to be too pessimistic. I'm not going to be too disheartened. I'd love to see us get a draw, and if we get a win, then wow, like how high are we looking? Because we are on a superb run. 13 points out of 15 says it all.
Do you think? I feel like this team's set up to win a lot of away games. Actually, Temps, with the pace of Johnson, the fullbacks, the centre backs bringing the ball out, the wing backs getting really high up the pitch. If you are brave enough to take the game to the home side, do you think Forest can win quite a lot of away games this season?
Yeah, and also players to change it from the bench. So today we've brought on Mighton, Garner, Lolly, and there aren't too many Championship sides that they wouldn't start in. So yeah, I think all those factors, the ability to change it if we need to, the ability to chase it, be super positive if we go a goal down, but also to start with attacking intent. So I hope so, but I hope as well that pressure of playing at home and the monkey off the back now of having won at the City ground enables the home form to improve, because you ain't going to finish top 6 by relying on being good on the road. We remember those Billy Davies sides and the runs that he enjoyed at home. So yeah, great, we're fantastic away, not broken. Let's translate that into home form as well and have a real good push now, because it was only 4 weeks ago we were talking about what Forest needed to do to avoid being bottom 3. You can see already we're getting excited. The players are getting excited. The place was excited today. And yeah, let's enjoy these next few weeks.
Yeah, I remember Gary Birtles saying, "You're not worried yet," after about 3 games. And you said, "No, I'm not worried yet." And it got a lot worse from there, but no, it's changed now. Any or many changes on Tuesday, Greg? What would you do? Like Kemp says, there's options there.
Not if we're all fit. I love the 3 centre backs and your wing backs. I didn't expect to see that from Forest, and it just works. And we're dangerous down the wing. And I just think that bench we had today, like you say, Lolly, Might, and Garner. The only defender on there was Bong. Maybe that's a concern, but it's exciting. It's frightening. Like, we've got so many options there to attack them if needs be. So if we're all fit, I don't change anything for Tuesday.
How does it feel just walking around the grounds? Because like we were saying before, we've gone to games where everyone's miserable. People are literally arguing with each other in the stands. I mean, Temps, it must just be nice to actually want to go to a Forest game again. That hasn't always been the case, has it?
It was loud today. And I think the Blackpool fans generated some of that at the start. And then, we just ground them into submission. But yeah, it didn't feel like a side that's under any kind of threat or looking over their shoulder. So yeah, the feel good factor is back for sure. But yeah, mate, you know how short-lived these things can be. The worms turn for us once this season. We've got to maintain it now. But it can be a fortress. It is an atmospheric venue. We do make a lot of noise. We do back the boys when they're winning. Steve Cooper was getting a few chances today. Yeah, I really hope we can keep this going, because it was an absolute pleasure to witness it today.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to perhaps finish on was talking about the chances of Forest climbing the league rapidly, because it is that division and it always has been. do you feel, you can go first, Greg, do you feel Forest are going to climb the league rapidly? I know Gary always says take it one game at a time, so I wouldn't have asked this if he was on here. But you're optimistic. You've cancelled your playoff hotel. Do you feel this is the start of something, or am I getting a bit too excited there?
If you can't have hope, then what's the point in following them? You know, it's like I said the other week, I was sick of walking out that ground and hearing the away fans celebrate. Now you're hanging on to walk out because you're thinking Cooper's going to do his fist bump. And he kept us waiting. He got it just right, and long may that continue. You know, it's the little things like that that get the fans excited and ready to go for the next game. So, yeah, why not? I just think get on a run, be that team for once. Like since I've followed Forest, we've never been that team that suddenly goes on the run and become unstoppable. So, why not this year? Like, I really do mean that. I think that we've got such a good opportunity now. We've got to keep players fit. Graben has to be fit because of the lack of options behind him, and we just keep going and see what happens.
What's your attitude, Temps? You're a realist and an analytical person, I imagine, compared to Greg, unless I'm doing you a disservice there. How are you feeling about it all?
No, I think Greg's enthusiasm's infected me. I think next target, striking distance of the playoffs by Christmas. There will be bumps in the road along the way. We will lose games, but what a turnaround. The atmosphere within the squad, at the ground. He's done exactly what was needed. He's proved those that appointed him right. He's high energy. He's great with young players, clearly, with the success he had with the England age group sides. I think we've unearthed a bit of a gem. Wasn't sacked by his last club, which is rare when Forest appoint a manager. I think he'll manage in the Prem one day. Let's hope it's with Forest. But yeah, first things first, striking distance of the playoffs by Christmas, and then we can get stuck into the run-in with a fit squad, hopefully, maintain that depth, have a good window, and off we go. But look, let's have a little nod to Gary. First things first, win on Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. A nod to Gary. Good. Bit of podcast housekeeping to finish. If I can get this in my camera. We've got merch, proper merch, like Garibaldi Red mugs, and we'll be giving some of those away. Hopefully some of them will be signed, so we'll let people know about that soon. Not signed by me, not signed by you, Greg, sorry, or Temps, but signed by people who've actually pulled on the shirt and been successful. So we'll give some of those away. And we're going to bring out a newsletter.
Getting back there, Greg, aren't we? We don't want to sign your mugs.
When you said signed, I thought I'm going to get so much grief for that. So
that's why I was trying to bail you out, but I've really stuck the knife in, haven't I? Inversely, sorry. But you're both great guests. I stumble over my words after embarrassing myself. What was I saying? Oh yeah, we're going to launch a newsletter soon, so you can read our thoughts in your email for free, and we'll have more details on that. And then we'll be back on Tuesday night, I think, probably not Wednesday morning, and we'll discuss the Bristol City game and hopefully another win. So we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for everyone who's watched on live and listened on iTunes or YouTube. As I always say, do give us a good review because it does help, and do subscribe because that helps even more, so we can keep spreading the word of this fine podcast, or I think it's fine anyway. Right, Greg, thank you very much.
No, cheers.
And Temps, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
And we'll catch everyone soon.